Hey y'all, this is Big Country with Big Country Survival. Um, and I am going to discuss in this video prepper groups, family members, and otherwise, and how to possibly deal with certain family members or friends that you might not want in your group. Alright, now it makes sense. You don't want someone that you can't get along with, at least at a functional state, to come in and live with you or on your property or whatnot. Alright, that makes sense to me. I mean, you have to be able to work with someone even if you're not necessarily friends, But ideally, you want to at least like the person. And but that is your guys' call. So, liking the person is not necessarily the be all end all of your decision. There's a lot of people that I like and I get along with, you know. However, they are not showing up at my house and getting, handouts, or they are not coming and living with me. And that is for the simple fact that they don't have anything to offer me. They are a drain on the resources for me and mine. If it was just me and I didn't have others to think about, you know what? I'd give you my last scrap of bread. However, I do have others to think about that are a little higher on the priority list than you or anyone else. Nothing personal against anybody. However, that's just the way it is. But that's a call you're going to have to make. Because you know what? Your good buddy that you used to barbecue with, that you might have discussed prepping with, and about him getting his year's supply of food and, maybe considering, getting some medical supplies and training and such. And things, just basic things like that. And, he said, yeah, that's a good idea, but he didn't do it. And then he shows up at your house. When it all goes down, I'm sorry, but I don't care how friendly we were at the barbecue. I told you. I warned you. It's my job right now, and it's your job right now to try and warn those that you really kind of care about. However, something I would suggest doing, if it is someone that you are not going to take, if they do not, have these preparations, figure out what preparations they need to make, and I would make it very clear that you're not prepping for them. I'm not prepping for anybody but who is in my set group. I'm prepping for me and mine. I'm not prepping for anybody else. However, so I would make that very clear to them and make it very clear that if they do not meet this criteria, if it's someone that you would consider allowing to come and live on your property, I would make it very clear the state of things. I would say, and you know what, you're not coming to my house. If it all goes down and you're not prepared, you're not coming to my house and getting food from me. I would make that very clear. If they laugh it off, I'd be blunt. Tact is not necessarily my strong suit, but I would not necessarily say, you know, exactly what, but I would I would not beat around the bush as to the lengths you would go to get them to leave if they tried to come and take. Um, you know what? You come over to a man's house after a major event and try and take his food. That is a good way to wind up hurting bad. Um, so I would not beat around the bush on that particular issue. Family members are the same way. Like I said, I'm specific and deliberate in who is going to be able to show up at my door. I have my group set. I'm very specific on who's gonna get to show up or who I'm showing up to if I'm compromised. We have this plan figured up. So, anyone else, whether they are blood or not, or blood on, you know, my wife's side or whatever, it doesn't matter. If they're not on the list, they ain't showing up. So, there are members of the family, and I'm sure there are members in everyone's family who are leeches. They just are mooches. They just take, when people take care of them and, give them money to buy stuff, and, they're on some form of government assistance. And they just, people just enable them right now to be quite honestly worthless. I believe all life has value. Some people just abuse the privilege. So, those kinds of people are not showing up at my door. The ones that you know them, they're in your family too, I'm sure. There are ones, even if it's extended family, maybe not your immediate family, but your extended family. There are members of your family, blood relation, marriage relation, that just like to cause hate and discontent. Those people aren't showing up either. Where it gets tricky, when you have family members such as small children, toddlers, infants, and one of the parents or both of the parents is one of the aforementioned people not showing up. And this is not something that I personally have to figure out and fight out the solution right now. Are you going to jeopardize your current group and your immediate family for the sake of the infant, toddler, small child who can't help it that, mommy and or daddy, or mommy and or daddy are, the way that they are, because he can't help it, or she. Sorry, he or she. Gotta be inclusive here. What do you do in that situation? I don't know. I can't tell you. It's a moral dilemma. And you have to figure out which side of the moral dilemma. Is it more moral to allow potential hate, discontent, threat to the current group you have, your immediate family, or your immediate family and whoever else you have decided you are definitely taking? Do you potentially jeopardize their safety and well-being by letting the whole of that family show up solely for the sake of that small child. Um, you know what? I don't think either one of those decisions is necessarily immoral. I don't. I don't personally believe that either one of those decisions would be immoral, whether to take them in or not. What I would suggest doing, if you were not taking them in and you have made it very clear you are not taking them in, I would scout around for them. Like, if there's farmland somewhere in walking or driving distance, I don't mean like a homesteader farm. I mean large-scale commercial kind of farming, like fields as far as you can see kind of farming. What feeds the world kind of farming. I might suggest something like that to them. Say, maybe you could find some work out there, find a farmer who is going to be willing to pay you for labor by, food and housing, work for your food. That might be an option for some of the unprepared because, stuff's not showing up. Gas, diesel, it's not showing up at these farms. And, the mechanization process is not going to be there. Things like that. You might suggest something like that. Maybe a national forest. Suggest something like that. Give them something to go to. And in that sense, I would say that, that would be a good thought for me. Something you might want to consider, because it would give them a chance. You could help them and not jeopardize your loved ones. It's a chance, and you know what? You may wind up, a week down the road, and I tell them, it's like, you know what? I might not be here that long. I might be run out, in a week or two. I might not be too far behind you. Because in all honesty, you might not. All your preparations aside, you don't know what's going to happen. Put your faith not in earthly goods that are destroyed by moth and flame. I think I got that right. Not the best at exactly word for word quoting scripture, but it's the basic point. Put your faith not in those earthly things. The Bible's a really good prepper book. It really is. There's a lot of good stuff for the believer or the unbeliever. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Anyway, so that's something that you might consider doing. But yeah, if they're going to be a definite threat, you know what? And like I said before, I'd get this out of the way now. I didn't get quite as far on this as I originally intended. So this is probably going to be a 2-part series. Anyway, this is Big Country Survival. Hit like and subscribe if you found this informative, please. It would be greatly appreciated. Feel free, check out some more videos. Big Country, signing out. God bless.